1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix. The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Like a phoenix, you Good. I was waiting for the transition to go through then I realised it's broken and it's not working, so it switched to me very quickly. How is it going? Welcome back to another live stream. I thought I'd do one today because I didn't really have any other videos planned until tomorrow. So I thought we'd do a live stream, do a bit of a Q&A. I'm doing it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we've just had some of the press conferences as well. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been like, what, 6 weeks or something like that since we last did a stream on the channel. The World Cup has happened. England, unfortunately, haven't won. That's the way it is. Maybe next time, who knows? It's 2 days until Christmas. It's all a bit weird. Some players are still celebrating in Argentina. But we're gonna try and answer all the questions. Yes, apologies for yesterday. There were so many comments about where... I'm going to turn the music down a second in my ears and put some Christmas music on instead. Where's my Christmas playlist? There it is. There was lots of comments yesterday about where Danny Ward has gone. So basically, when I was doing the World Cup stuff, my camera's very laggy. Very laggy. So annoying. Matthew, thank you very much. 4 months. Appreciate that. Yeah, so the Danny Ward situation is when I was doing... Is it laggy? It just started lagging earlier, and then it asked me to do a driver update, and I've done it. It doesn't seem to have made it better. Danny Ward. What was I saying? Danny Ward. Oh, yeah. So when I did World Cup stuff, I had a different background to this. So without boring you too much, rather than set up a new thing, I just replaced this one with a World Cup one. And then when I went back to put the FPL one up again, because the World Cup had finished, I put the old one up and I couldn't find this one on my computer anywhere. But I found it today. So that's why Danny Ward wasn't there. Lots of people were very concerned, I saw in the comments. Where's Danny Ward? Why have you taken him off the wall? And all that kind of stuff. Hang on, Merry Christmas. I'm working and it's hectic as hell, I can imagine. I mean, I'm working too, but it's obviously a little bit different when you get to work from home. I have worked in retail many times at Christmas, and it's not that fun at all. Oh yeah, there we go. At Curry's, of all places. Dixon's, for those of you that are old enough, then Curry's. What are the updates on Brighton's triple game week? There are none. Have a good one. And Salah and Odegaard with no bench, but White or Darwin and Saka with a better bench. Salah and Odegaard with no bench, but White or Darwin and Saka with a better bench. I mean, the second one's probably better if you want to go without Salah. Mount actually confirmed injured. No. Also, I should put my screen up, but there's no point really in putting this screen up because I've not played around with the team at all. I should probably... Well, my whole computer is just laggy. That's really quite annoying. Because computers, when they just suddenly have a problem, it can be loads of different reasons. And I do not want to have to spend today figuring out why that is. Anyway, should be fine to do this. So we'll take out... So Mitrovic is a doubt for the first game. Now, you could go for him and bench him for the game week 17 and hope that he's back for game week 18. But obviously it wouldn't be guaranteed. So that's what's annoying. Kepa wasn't... So Graham Potter didn't necessarily go through all of the squad and say who's playing, who's not. But he didn't mention Kepa as being an issue. He did say that Mendy had only been back training for a couple of sessions or something like that. Yeah, Marco Silva. Now, you'd have to go and watch the video that I tweeted out just a minute ago. But essentially, he said this. They're still waiting on some players. Then he mentioned Mitrovic, and then the reporter specifically said, "Is Mitrovic a doubt?" And I can't remember if he said. I think he said, "Is he a doubt for Crystal Palace?" And he said, "Yes, he's a doubt." Kepa's in training, yeah, so he should be fine. Just for all the latest news, I've kind of put it on the ticker, but no one ever reads that, so I know it's got to go on the bottom, etc. Reece James played 65 minutes in the friendly, apparently, and he's been back in training, so he should be okay. Also, apologies if my voice is a bit weird. I've been ill the last 2 or 3 days, and it's super annoying. Why have I not done a single transfer? There's no price changes. It doesn't really matter, does it? And I didn't want to take someone out that I might regret taking out. Like Trippier, I'm probably not going to get into the conversation now because I know that nobody wants me to sell him and no one else is going to sell him. But he's someone that I could maybe sell and then use that money elsewhere. But I don't want to confirm that until I'm absolutely sure. So there's just no point in doing transfers. I just do this every time or do it on a planner or something like that instead. So I think there's a good chance. I think what I'd want, right, this is the team that I want. I think if Mitrovic is a doubt, I probably just don't start with him. I'm probably not going to start with Trossard, but I want to make sure that I've got the money for him. Kepa in goal. And then James would come in. Ideally, I really want Gabriel. I know everyone's got Ben White, but I do think Gabriel is worth the 0.5 million. And then I've only got 4.3 million to spend on this spot here. So I could go for Bueno, I could go for Patterson. Because if Arsenal get that double in game week 21, it'll be against Everton. So I could go for Patterson, but let's just say I go for Bueno. So I could do something like that, but instead of Trossard, I would probably just start with Rashford. And if Mason Mount is fine, there is a chance I just start with Mount over Saka as well. So I may just start with something like that, possibly. I don't know though. I'm not 100% sure. I think unless Brighton gets confirmed as a double, I'm probably not going to get 3 of their players in right now. I'll probably leave enough money to get Trossard. I could get in Dunk or something like that if I wanted to. But I think something like that. But obviously Mount could just be Saka. And I could just bank 0.8 million for now. But that's what I'm considering right now with Mitrovic a doubt. Yeah, no Darwin Nunez, but people say you don't have to make many sacrifices to get him in, but then I look at their team and think there's so many positions I'd want to upgrade in that team. Like to get Darwin Nunez, I mean maybe I'd have to I'd probably just got to drop Cancelo, right? I've probably just got to drop Cancelo. I'm 0.8 million off with this team, but if I want to leave myself enough money to do Rashford to Trossard, for example, I'm 1.2 million off. So really it's Cancelo out. Why do you hate Nunez? I actually love Nunez. So I basically I'd have to take out Trippier or Cancelo. I do think there's a world in where you can take Trippier out, but I don't know if I want to take that risk, to be honest. I can get down quite easy with Cancelo and same rest of the team. All right, well, you're just showing off then with your team value. I don't have the team value to do that. Even if I put Rashford back in instead of Trossard and worry about... Because there is a chance that Brighton just don't get a double game week, right? Not now, anyway. Maybe in the future. Not for game week 21, I mean. I'm still 0.8 million off with this team. I guess one thing that I haven't got is I didn't get Trippier very early. Like, people that got Trippier at 5 million, they're laughing. I don't really want to sell Cancelo, if I'm honest. I kind of want to just go with him. Just seems like a pretty good option overall. You've got White, yeah. See, that makes it a bit easier. So if I put Ben White in, and did you also get Trippier earlier? Like if I put Ben White in, I'm this bloody computer. I'm 0.3 million off now with this team. But then I'm starting to make compromises again. I guess Gabriel to White to have Darwin's not that bad, but I also, I probably got to keep a bit of money to get Mitrovic in for Martial, just in case I want Mitrovic for the double as well. So there's that consideration. Okay, you got Trippier a bit more, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Nah, I'm not. I'm going to go for Kepa no matter what now, I think. Martial and Rashford is just circumstance. Like if Mitrovic was fit, I'd probably go for Wilson and Mitrovic and Haaland and not have Martial. Will you play 4 at the back considering you have 4 expensive defenders? Not necessarily. Almiron is not coming into my team. And it's not because I hate Almiron. It's just I think there's better midfield positions. I don't know about Salah versus De Bruyne. I don't like to knee-jerk too much, but I mean, De Bruyne looked pretty good last night. But then again, Salah didn't look good, and he still got a goal, right? He still got penalties. He's still got slightly better fixtures outside of the double. I don't know. I'm tempted to just start with Salah and move to De Bruyne if I need to. But I know there's a chance I just don't make that move. It's also why I don't want to put Cancelo and Walker or Cancelo and Ederson, because I don't want to lock that third Man City spot off. Almiron is a must. Almiron's not a must. He's not a must. He's a good option. He's a good option, but I wouldn't say he's a must. For some reason, all those super chats... Oh, God. No, I don't know which super... Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, there's only 2 so far. Loz, Merry Christmas. Let's talk 3 million. Salah, De Bruyne, Haaland, and fancy building a quick team on stream. I'm doing it right now. But with 3 premiums, you have to have Almiron, I think. What about punt on Eriksen? 5 attacking returns versus Bruno's 4. Honestly, I just think Rashford is better than Eriksen. I think Eriksen beating Fernandes is great, and it probably means that unless you think something massive is going to change, you probably shouldn't go and spend the money on Fernandes. I don't think it makes Eriksen a better option than Rashford, though. Kane's not happening, I don't think, to be honest with you. I think it's too... Like, if I go for Kane, it's got to be instead of Darwin, or I'm not going to go for Haaland, Kane, and Darwin. That's way too much money. Also, Kane's on 4 yellows. I know Mitrovic is 2, but Kane's a lot more money, so that does worry me a bit. So I've got to find 2.9 million from somewhere. That's quite a lot of money out of this team. Right, even if I took Cancelo out, I would then be able to get a 4.3 million defender. I probably wouldn't want to go that low, so I'd have to downgrade someone else as well. So I don't think Kane's going to happen. Happy holidays, thank you. Happy holidays to all of you too. The other option is to go for 5-man midfield. 5-man midfield. But you lose Andreas. He's got a double game week. It doesn't necessarily feel right. I'd probably go without Martial if I did this. So get rid of Martial. I guess Greenwood is a lot cheaper than Andreas, so that helps. He's 0.3 million less at least. It helps a little bit. So I could do something like this. And I think it would give me enough money to get Gabriel back in. I do love Gabriel. So 0.3 left over for this team. So it'd be a 3-5-2, but I don't know if I want to leave myself. Like, I just think this... My main problem with 3-5-2 is there's potentially more double game weeks to add. There's potentially transfers I already need to make, like Salah to De Bruyne, for example, could happen. You know, maybe Rashford to Trossard if that happens as well. So if I also want to get to a third forward at any point, that's 2 transfers to do it, as well as all the other stuff. So that's my main concern there. Am I concerned with James and Kepa? Not really. Like, I just think, is Kepa the best 4.5 million goalkeeper? He probably is. I think if the others had doubles confirmed, like Everton, Pickford, Palace, Guaita, etc., you know, Sanchez, Brighton, maybe you could consider someone else, but I just like Chelsea's fixtures in the short term. And so I'm not really worried about the fact I own Kepa when I've got... Because, when I'm trying to pick James, I think it is James the best 5.8 million or below defender. I mean, he's right up there. Maybe not as good as Trippier in a lot of people's eyes, but I don't know. If Potter can get Chelsea just actually defended a little better, and we know how good James is in attack, and also, not only is James back training and got 65 minutes in the friendly, Loftus-Cheek is also still out. So if James doesn't play right wing back, who's going to play there instead? I know he could play anyone, right? He could put Sterling over there. I don't know, maybe play Pulisic or whatever it is. But there's not a huge amount of competition for James. Now, I'm not saying that means Potter will just keep playing him, because if he's just back from injury and he needs to be managed, I'm sure he'll have his minutes managed, and Potter will think of something else. But I just think his minutes over the next 3 games could be quite good. I just love the guy. Is Cucurella nailed? I think if Chelsea play a back... Like, Chilwell's out at the moment, right? He's still out. I don't know how long it's going to be for. So while Chilwell's out, if Chelsea play a back 4, you would assume that Cucurella will play left back. I don't think they'd try many other players there in the Premier League. If they play a back 3... I don't know if Cucurella would play left wing back. I know I feel sometimes I hear myself say something. I think you've said that so much on videos, but if you go back and look at Brighton last season, Cucurella did not play left wing back under Potter that much. I don't think he really likes him there. He played left centre back or left back, so he could play left centre back when they play a back 5, but it's not guaranteed that would happen. So I don't mind him because he's only 5.1 million. But I just think you can get Kepa in goal for 4.5, and for a little bit more money you can get Reece James. And I don't think I want to triple up on Chelsea defence. Lewis Hall started ahead of Cucurella at left back last 2 games. Nope, he started at left wing back, not a left back. I'm pretty sure if you go and check that over Chelsea's last few games, every time they played back 4, it was Cucurella. So they played Villa and lost 1-0 in a friendly. Cucurella was left back in the back 4. They played Newcastle on the 12th of November. That was in the league. It was a back 5, and Lewis Hall did play left wing back. But as I said, Cucurella, that's why I'm saying Cucurella is not nailed, because of the left wing back situation. EFL Cup, it was a back 5. Lewis Hall played left wing back. Cucurella played left centre back. So that's my main point, right? Against Arsenal, back 4, Cucurella played. So I think with Chilwell out, Cucurella is basically nailed in a back 4, pretty much, as left back. But in a back 5, not so much, because Potter just doesn't play him as a wing back. Wilson scored me 20 points and I have to keep him forever. That is how FPL works. I don't think Bueno is worth it. I don't particularly want him if I don't have to, but it's getting tricky to have more money to spend on that spot. And he's only 3.9 million. It's not a massive risk, I don't think. Havertz is... I think Havertz is great if he plays. Now, I can't sit here and tell you he's going to play every game, because it's Chelsea. They've got a lot of options, and Potter has rotated quite a bit. Like, he could play every game, I guess, next 3 or 4. How likely that is, I don't know. I honestly don't know. He did score a hat-trick in the behind closed doors friendly, but doesn't mean he's going to start. I mean, I don't think Havertz is the worst punt. What is he, like 7.7 million or something like that? But I don't think I would go there personally. I think Wilson's a better option. I think with Martial, the thing with Martial is he is nailed. He's just not fit all the time, right? So that's the difference. Whereas Havertz is probably fitter than Martial. He doesn't necessarily start. So at least with Martial, you know if he's not injured, he's going to play. And obviously cost less as well. So I really don't mind the Havertz punt, but I think you do it knowing that there's a chance he gets benched at any point. Yeah, Lewis Hall would be a nice punt while Chilwell's out if he's going to keep playing as the left wing back. As long as he's fit, I've not checked to be honest. But of course, if they play a back 4, then he doesn't play, does he? So I'll tell you what someone pointed out the other day. Who was it? I think it was FPL. Is it Tribbiani? I only know by profile pictures. Yeah, FPL Tribbiani. I think he's a Chelsea fan. He tweeted a bunch of minutes, I think, under Potter. And Mason Mount was right at the top. Okay, so yeah, here it is. Premier League minutes. In fact, maybe I'll just... No, I won't bring it up. Premier League minutes out of 720 possible minutes since Potter took over. Top is Mason Mount, 654. Second is Trevor Chalobah at 630. 630 minutes. So if you wanted to go someone a bit cheaper, didn't want to go for Cucurella, maybe Chalobah is the one to go for. He's 4.7, I think. 4.7 million. Also, yeah, I'm just checking here. Lewis Hall is listed as a midfielder, so not an option at all, really. So Trevor Chalobah could be the cheap Chelsea defender if you really wanted one. Yeah, I'm not going triple Chelsea defence. Yeah, but only in because Fofana's injured. Well, guess who's injured again? It's Fofana. I mean, how long term do you need someone that's 4.7 million? Fofana's just constantly injured at Chelsea. He's going to be out for another month, right? And the thing is, one thing to think about at the moment, I mean, it's a little bit different because I think we got 2 FA Cup breaks in January, but missing... Even right now, if you miss 2 weeks, you're going to miss at least 3 games, right? Because of how quick the games are. I saw a question. Yeah, cheers, Ant. I completely missed that he was a midfielder until I looked it up then. You can tell how much I've looked into Lewis Hall. Someone asked me about who's on penalties out of Fernandes and Martial. I don't know, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure the last penalty was the one against Man City and Martial took it. I think he won it as well. So it's really hard to know because before that I would have said it's definitely Fernandes. As soon as Ronaldo left, it was Fernandes penalties because obviously that's been the case for a while. And to be honest, I think Fernandes' penalty record is better than Ronaldo's anyway. I know that he's he missed one against Martinez, didn't he? Against Villa. It could be Martial, but if I had to put money on it, I would say it's still Fernandes. I think if Martial had penalties, that would be obviously a nice bonus, but I don't think it makes or breaks him as an FPL option, to be honest. Bruno was not on the pitch when Martial took the penalty. Is that true? I feel like Bruno Fernandes wouldn't get taken off against Man City, but if I'm honest, I can't remember. So I'm going to look it up right now. When did we play them? It wasn't that long ago, was it? Oh, 6-3, 2nd of October. Bruno Fernandes did not get substituted in that game, so he was on the pitch. I'm pretty sure Kepa is... I'm pretty sure he's number 1. Does that mean that he's definitely going to start every single game? I guess not, but he is number 1, I think, and he's fit. Mason Mount has 2 points in each of his last 5 games. He's due then, isn't he? He's due some good points. Martial is our best player ever. That is not true. Okay. How is your week? My week's okay. I wish I wasn't ill, but other than that, it could be worse. Plans for Boxing Day? Stream and then eat food, I guess. Maybe watch a bit of football. Don't know if I'll watch it all. There's a lot of football on Boxing Day. I think 4 games are on. I don't know if I'll watch it all. Doherty as a punt. I have considered it because obviously he's been scoring goals in the friendlies, but he's been playing left wing back. So as soon as Sessegnon's back, does he then go straight back to the right side and start competing with Emerson Royale? And obviously I think Jed Spence has started. Has he started the last 2 games for Spurs? I could be talking rubbish. I know they're only friendlies, but Tottenham 4-0 against Motherwell. Yeah, Jed Spence played right wing back, and against Nice, I think he also played. Yeah, oh no, it was Emerson. Sorry. So Emerson started the last one. Yeah, my main worry is at some point very soon, Perisic is going to be back. And once Sessegnon's also fit, that's 2 players for left wing back. I don't think Doherty's going to stay there, to be honest. And even if Jed Spence doesn't play, he's still got to compete with Emerson Royale, and I just don't think Doherty's going to start every game. Good luck saying Boxing Day in Galway. Come on. No one cares about that much. Everyone knows what I mean. Yeah, New Year's Eve football. The deadlines are 26th, 30th, and then 2nd of January. There's no info on Ivan Toney. I think he's got until January the 4th to respond. How can he play Emerson Royale over Doherty? Look, I think most of us agree that, especially when it comes to the attacking side of the game, Doherty is much better. But we have to just acknowledge how much he's played Emerson Royale. And because of that, I don't think we can say that Doherty is nailed by any stretch. Perisic surely starts further up the field now after the World Cup. He's practically a striker for 500 plus minutes. I doubt it. I mean, he's done that forever for Croatia, hasn't he? But that's not where he plays at club level. You see that with quite a few players, though. They're sometimes used. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Perisic hasn't always been a wing-back, right? You know, he used to play as more of a winger until the last few seasons. So I don't think it wasn't that out of the ordinary to see him play that high up against for Croatia. It's just what he does. You can only say Boxing Day in the Keys pub. Why in Keys? Yeah, Perisic. Yeah. He did play. He played in the front too, I think. Didn't he line up in a 3-5-2 alongside Kane at one point? But that was injuries. Once Kulusevski's fine, Son's fine. He's not going to play there. I don't see any point. Like for me, is there any point risking Tony just in case something happens? Possibly not. But I don't even know. Sorry, I should really be doing this. I'm doing it on my other screen. You can't see what I'm doing. Is it worth going for him anyway over someone like Wilson? Because they're the same price. Like Spurs at home, West Ham away, Liverpool at home. He could score in those games. Like Liverpool are going to be missing Romero. Perisic might not be back either. Excuse me. They got slight issues of their own. Lloris. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if he's going to be back either. And obviously Liverpool have not necessarily defended that well this season. But until game week 20, Brentford's fixtures aren't that great anyway. Like for these first two, so I'd rather just go for Wilson, I think. Tony's one of those players. I don't think you can ever really say he's a bad pick because, he's nailed penalties, all that kind of stuff, 90 minutes, especially when we're coming into a period of football where there are quite a few game weeks quickly, right? So some players are going to miss one game. Someone like Tony is not going to, unless he's banned, right? But so I can never sit here and tell you he's a bad pick because he's not. But I do think I prefer Wilson. I think just about. It's pretty close though. Is Kulusevski a decent option, or do you think Saka and Foden are better options? I do think Saka and Foden are both better options. I just think someone tweeted me this earlier. I know we always say it, but maybe it is slightly more true than it has been for a while. And where was it? They said I was talking about whether or not I was talking about needing to see someone else sell Trippier because I needed the confidence to do it myself. And they reply. I don't think I can find it now. I tweet too much. Yeah, it was Brett Taylor, FPL Echidna. I probably pronounced that wrong. We are so spoilt for choice, it's doing people's heads in, I reckon. Any draft feels wrong because you're leaving out 5 players who would be absolute gifts in any other season. And to me, that is Almiron. That is summing up Almiron completely. I gotta be honest, I can't remember who we were talking about just then. Kulusevski. I think that's the same for Kulusevski. Kulusevski is a really good option. He is. And again, he's like, there's lots of players that I won't sit here and say are bad options at all. And Kulusevski's one of them, but I'm not going to go for him. I just think if you look at the 8 million midfielders, I'd prefer to take a punt on Mount because of the fixtures and the double. I think Foden is a better option because his numbers are all good, always good. He's definitely not nailed, right? We can't say that, but I expect his minutes to be pretty good. And Saka's absolutely nailed, really good minutes. Arsenal have been incredible this season, and he's on penalties as well. So Kulusevski's great, but I'm not going to pick him. Just like Almiron is great, I'm not going to pick him. If I play a 3-4-3, I've only got 4 spots. And there are a lot of midfielders to pick from. Yeah, Kane. Not even considering Kane. Kane's been brilliant. If Haaland wasn't around, if Haaland had never signed for City, Kane would be in everybody's teams. He's had a great season. He's got like 15 returns. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But he's just not under consideration for me because I'm probably going to go for Salah or De Bruyne instead. I mean, maybe Kane does solve an issue, but he's on 4 yellows as well. It does slightly worry me. Like, Kane coming in here instead of Greenwood, and then Salah down to... I mean, I could almost get Alma on and go for a pretty decent squad, to be honest, but I don't have quite enough money. So you put Andreas back in, and suddenly I've got 1.2 million to spend, and I've still got all those other players that I wanted in the first place. So Kane does solve a slight problem in that forwards are maybe slightly more difficult to pick than midfielders. I feel like there's a lot more midfielders I want. And he's a bit cheaper, but he's on 4 yellows. If he gets that soon, that's going to annoy me. So I'd probably just rather have Salah. I still don't know about De Bruyne. I know this is going to sound really stupid because it's only 1 game week difference, but if Man City's double was in like game week 19, oh, what am I doing here? Was in game week 19, maybe I would just get him in because 17 and 18 are pretty good fixtures, but when it's game week 20, it just feels far enough away that I just back Salah instead for at least 3 fixtures. Villa, Leicester, Brentford, and then just see. Because if Liverpool got a double in 21, I'd probably just keep hold of him, to be honest. I don't think it's that likely, but it could be. I'm not sure I would go for Son. I saw a tweet about Son. I don't know if he's a doubt. Oh, yeah. We have some problems with... So this is what Conte said about... did he say it? Yeah, it must be for the next Premier League game, I think. We have some problems with some players. Sonny in the last 2 days didn't have a training session because of a fever. Same with Skippy and Spence. Did he really call him Skippy? So I guess, unless we get another update about Son, maybe it's a slight worry. Oh, Harry Kane's back in training. So's Perisic. I've just seen a video from FPL Velvet. It's from a Spurs video, and Ivan Perisic is back for Brentford. Now, whether or not he's fit enough, we'll have to wait and see, but he's been playing games, right? So he could be good. So that would just... it's for the Nice game, okay. And did Son play in that game? Let me see. He did not. But maybe he'll be back for this. I mean, Son could be good, but then when you're spending that much on a midfielder, I would rather have Salah and De Bruyne than Son. No, I know Skippy is Oliver Skip. I get it, but sorry, someone in the chat asked. So Mount had a calf strain, which is why he missed the friendly, but it wasn't mentioned by Potter. But it might be safer to go without him. Fruit Loops and Ketia. Yeah, I wish we could have 4 Arsenal players. I actually really like Nketiah as an option because I think Jesus is going to be out for at least another month, right? And that's a lot of fixtures for Arsenal in that time. And he's a good price, and I do think he's going to be there number 9. I think he's going to play there regularly. I don't think Martinelli is going to start many, if any, games in that position. I think it will just be a straight swap, Jesus to Nketiah. The problem for Nketiah is how many other good options Arsenal have. Like when you look at someone like Martial, you've got Rashford, and I think that's it from attack. I just think Bruno Fernandes, as much as I looked at him first of all until the doubles were announced, it's just too much money. He's just too much money. So Martial's okay, but if you look at Nketiah, that means you're not going for one of Martial, Martinelli, Saka, Gabriel, White, Odegaard. They're all really nice options. So again, I do genuinely think that Nketiah is a pretty nice option, like in his own right. Like if you compare Nketiah to Martial, I don't think there's a massive amount in it. Right? I know the first 3 fixtures are pretty good for Man United, so you'd probably edge it towards Martial in the very short term. But for the next 5 to 6 weeks, Nketiah could be just as good. But I don't really want to drop. If this is the team that I go for, I know lots of people are saying Mount's a really bad pick. I'm just going to take him out so we can cancel that conversation right now. like if I was going to go for this team, which could be the way I go, is Nketiah over Martial worth dropping one of Saka or Martial? I would say probably not. I would say this combination might be the way to go. Yes, Mount's a really bad pick. I've got rid of him now. And look, if I'm going for him, if you think he's a bad pick and I go for him, that's one less FPL manager that's competition to you. Zaha, I'm not going for. I know he's got 2 really nice fixtures, but he is a transfer. He's definite transfer waiting to happen, like 100%. And I don't necessarily want to book in a bunch of transfers, to be honest. Nah, I wouldn't go for Maddison over Saka, but again, Maddison's pretty nice. Darwin Nunez, definitely an option, yeah. Like, there's loads of players that are options. I saw someone tweet the other day, and this was a couple of days ago, so I genuinely can't remember who it was. But they said it's. I think it was it FPL Roycer? Might have been him. He basically said it's almost impossible to make a bad draft. Bad draft. Because there's so many good options, right? So I might go for this team, and look, you might have a team that you think is better. That's fair enough, right? This is an opinion-based game, but I don't think anyone can look at this team and say that it's outrightly bad, right? I don't think that's true. I don't think if you said that would be true. I know it would be your opinion, but I would say it's false. But you might have Wilson and Darwin Nunez, and you might have dropped Cancelo to someone cheaper. You might not have Gabriel. You might have White. That's also a pretty good team, right? You might not have Saka and I don't know, Rashford. You might have Trossard and Maddison, or Trossard and Kulusevski. That's still a really good team. It's really hard to make a bad team, I would say. You can have Almiron instead of Salah, right? I probably wouldn't even say that was that bad. So there's lots of players I'm tempted by, but at the end of the day, at some point you've got to make a decision, and I'm pretty comfortable with the players that I've selected. De Bruyne could very easily get another 4-goal haul against Leeds. I would say he almost definitely will not get another 4-goal haul against anyone this season, I'm saying. The team looks bueno. Do you think I should have Trossard ahead of Saka till 23? Nah, probably not. Because Trossard's not guaranteed a double in 21, but Saka is also not guaranteed, but they could both get one. And then I'd rather have Saka, I think. I like Nketiah instead of Mitrovic, yeah. I don't know how much. I don't know whether we should completely rule out Mitrovic just because he might miss one game. My main worry is, what if it's not just this one game? What if it's also the next game? That's my main concern right now. I can't remember so Fulham play. So this is the game that he's a doubt for. He didn't rule him out completely, so he may be perfectly fine for the next game. So that's on Monday, and then Fulham don't play again until Saturday. So Monday to Saturday, I mean, if he's saying he's a doubt now, that's Friday. So he's got 8 days until the game afterwards. He may be perfectly fine for that. So if you've got a decent bench, like for those of you that are, I don't know, benching Ben White or Bueno or someone like that, you could just play them this week instead. You're confusing us with your drafts. How so? I mean, when you say things like, do I think Kane is being overlooked? I think, yes, he is, but for good reason. No, I don't think Almiron is better than Martinelli, personally. Isak's not fit. I think Isak's out until at least January. So Wilson. Our next 3 games are all in like December. I know start of January, but Isak's not going to be back for that, I don't think. What are my thoughts on Mason Mount? I don't know if that's a troll. Is that a troll? Ethan, are you trolling me now? What are my thoughts on Mason Mount? I like Mason Mount, honestly. I do. I know, like, he's not been great this season. If you look at his expected goal, expected assist numbers, they are down from last season as well. And obviously, if you think that's going to continue, then yeah, he's a bad option. But he's got the fixtures. He's got that double. Like, there are plenty of worse players to take a punt on. I know people say, like, people always say to me, like, you overemphasize the importance of doubles. I would say that a lot of people underestimate the importance of doubles. And it's not just the double that Chelsea have. If they had awful fixtures and then they had a double as well, which included Man City, that would be different. But they got really nice fixtures. Like, if you're going to take a punt on Mason Mount at any point, then surely the time is Bournemouth and Forest, 2 of the teams you'd want to face. Maybe throw Fulham in there. Oh, who do they have? Fulham in game week 19. And then Palace at home in 20. They've got to play Fulham again in game week 22. So if he starts doing something here, suddenly his price goes up because he's getting close to a double. And then you suddenly look like a genius. He could also just blank for the next 4 matches, right? That is also a possibility. But I don't mind Mount at all. I think he's a perfectly okay pick. But again, he's not so good that he's the standout in his bracket, right? He's not, like, if you're thinking that Saka's here, Mason Mount's not up here. He's like here, or even slightly below maybe. You just want to take a punt because of the fixtures. I just said his stats aren't that great. They're down from last year. I'm not sitting here telling you that Mason Mount numbers are brilliant and he is the best option at 8 million or below by a mile, because none of those things are true. But I still think he's a perfectly okay option if you want to go for him. And like I said earlier, there are a lot of players like that right now. There's a real battle between overlooked, you're sleeping on, and bullish for the most irritating overused words, phrases with this game. Doesn't it just drive you up the wall? Someone said to me earlier, you're making a massive mistake by not going for Almiron or something like that. I was like, you can just join the queue of all the mistakes I make. I don't think Wilson's a doubt, but I could be wrong. Which players on this draft do you think are currently locks? Oh, good question. I would say Kepa and James, Martinelli, Haaland. I think that might be it. Honestly, like, I think there's lots of other players that are very close to being locked in, like Cancelo, for example. I think I will probably go for Salah over De Bruyne, but in terms of actually locked, as in, unless there's injury news or I get a sudden change of heart or plan, which I just don't see what would affect it between now and Boxing Day, because I'm going to try and not think about this too much on Christmas Day. Kepa, James, Haaland, and probably Martinelli, because I don't want to lose the value. I really think I'm probably going to start with Rashford as well. If anything, I almost think that Rashford is slight. Like, if we're doing it on a scale of how close to being locked in, I almost feel like Rashford's slightly more locked in than Salah, because if I'm going to keep Martinelli anyway, there's not too many players around Rashford's price that I prefer. I prefer Rashford over Almiron, but with Salah, I could still go De Bruyne. So I think Rashford's actually probably slightly closer to being locked in, I think. But then if Brighton's double gets announced, then maybe Trossard comes straight in. I don't think at this point, what's the time? 2:45. I'm not sure we're going to get double game week info, though, at this point. I'm not sure we get it on Christmas Eve. I tell you what, talking about overused words that are annoying, and we want to talk about overlooked. Do you know what player's name I have barely seen in the chat? Now, I've not read every single comment. Like, I'm seeing loads of stuff about Havertz and Bueno and Kane and Mason Mount. I'm not seeing Phil Foden's name come up very often. Not like I'm even reading back over all the comments recently, and I'm not seeing Phil Foden that much whatsoever. Why are we not talking about Phil Foden? He's got a double in game week 20 as long as Christ's sake, there's no replay for Man City or Spurs. He's got a double in 20. Too much rotation. You know who doesn't get rotated that often? Mason Mount. He did get 3 benches in a row, but he also started the Premier League game before. And you could frame last night in a couple of ways. One, you could frame it, he didn't start, therefore he's not high up the pecking order. Or you could go on what Pep said about rhythm, and the fact that Foden played in the World Cup until the quarterfinals means he's kept up rhythm by playing competitive matches, and therefore didn't need the minutes last night from the start. So, yeah. Foden could be good. Foden could be good. Don't play Havertz. I want to be alone with it. Look, trust me, if you're going for Havertz, he's going to be a massive differential, right? Even if I did a video tomorrow and said that Havertz was in my draft, it wouldn't put the ownership up very high. I would just have a lot of comments telling me I'm an idiot. Not that I think you're an idiot for going for Havertz, but that is what would happen. So if you're worried about Havertz not being a differential because people are talking about him in the chat, trust me, he will be a massive differential. You know who also doesn't score many points consistently? Mason Mount. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I set that one up for you, though, didn't I? Is Kulusevski under the radar? Is he overlooked? Is he being slept on? Are we sleeping on him? Thoughts on Veltman instead of Dunk? Dunk just feels safe to me. He's always going to play, isn't he? I mean, Veltman, I don't think... Has Veltman missed many games this season? I would guess not. I'd double check. I mean, he's on the same amount of points as Dunk. Yeah, he only played... I don't know if he was injured, but he only played 31 against Villa, 1 minute against Wolves, nothing against Chelsea, 65 against City. That does look like an injury, doesn't it? But I can't remember, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like COVID. You know when you had COVID and then after COVID you would speak to people and then everything was defined by whether it was pre or after COVID? I feel like it's the same with the World Cup, right? Like I've forgotten everything from the Premier League pre-break. Gross has been playing at right back. You can actually see on Transfer Market whether they were benched or injured. The lucky one. Yeah, not in the squad against Chelsea. He's in the squad against Wolves and Villa. Didn't play. I actually looked at Veltman earlier because I was hoping he'd be a bit cheaper, but he's 4.6. So honestly, I think you just get Dunk. He's boring. It's a boring pick, but he's safe. If you want a Brighton defender, I think you just buy Dunk. I had Webster before the break, before the great reset, but he's flagged at the moment. I think Gabriel is a... Do I say much? I'm going to say it. He's a much better option than Ben White, I think. But he is 0.5 million more. So it really does depend on how often you're going to be willing to play him, I think. Like if you're only going to play him when you get stuck, you probably just go for Ben White and save the money. But I think Gabriel is worth 0.5 if you're going to play them regularly enough. He's just great from set pieces and corners. Does get quite a few chances. I don't think Ben White's going to get rotated, to be honest, either. I think he'll play pretty much at right back most of the time. Is Garnacho a good option? I would say probably not. I think when Anthony's fully fit and available, like I don't know if there's a slight fitness thing with Anthony because he didn't start the EFL Cup, but when he's fine, he's going to be right wing and Rashford's going to be left wing, and there's no room for Garnacho. Like he'll play some games probably and he'll get minutes off the bench, but I wouldn't waste a spot on him. Is Gabriel prone to an own goal? I thought Transfer Market would have a list of all his own goals. Can I see how many own goals he scored on the Premier League site? Own goals. 0? Oh, 0. Yeah, according to the Premier League website, he scored 0 own goals. Is that right? I've got the right Gabriel here. But there was a... Gabriel own goal ends... Oh, FA Cup. Do you know, a lot of people since the start of the season have been saying that he could get rotated at some point because of mistakes, but it just hasn't happened. And also, Arsenal defended so well. Their numbers are really good. And, like, I think there was an interview with Arteta recently where he's talking about partnerships and how good the Gabriel and Saliba partnership is. So I don't think it's going to get broken up anytime soon. I am considering Nunez, but I probably just won't go for him. Like, I can't have everyone. Thinking of Pro as a punt for the first few weeks. Yeah, the fixtures aren't bad for Southampton. It's Southampton. I don't know how much I would trust that defence. New manager, maybe they'll be good, but I guess 4.4 million is not that much of a risk at least. Daniel, very Merry Christmas to and the family. Thank you very much. Same to you. Oh, my nose is a bit itchy. Pranav, Rashford, Wilson, or Mount Martial? Rashford, Wilson, I think. Wilson's better than Martial. Rashford and Mount's close, I guess, because of the double for Chelsea. But I'd probably go Rashford and Wilson. I guess you get an extra fixture. You get an extra fixture out of the Mount Martial combo. But I mean, so I feel like I shouldn't really say Martial's injury prone and act like Wilson isn't. But I feel like there's levels, and even Martial is probably worse than Wilson, which is saying something. I'm not going to go for Bruno. He's just too expensive to fit in. I think realistically, if I go for Bruno, I've got to get rid of Salah, which could be worth the punt for 3 weeks, but I probably won't go for it. Are you excited for the Second Chance League? Fair play. It'd be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, FPL making a big deal out of it. Their unprecedented innovation, which I thought was maybe a joke's a bit harsh, but like they've basically set up a new league. That's unprecedented innovation. If you want to impress me with unprecedented innovation, change the cup so that we can have a free hit team every single week instead of the boring format that it is right now. That would be unprecedented innovation, not we've created a new league, essentially. Which basically any of us can do at any point. We can all do that. I can create a league that starts in any game week. If you do James to Chalobah, you can upgrade Saka to Bruno. Nah, I don't think that would work. There's only about 1 million difference between James and Chalobah. Saka and Bruno is like 2 million, isn't it? I'm pretty sure Bruno is 9.8 million. Yeah, he's 9.8. Basically, FPL have set up a second, like the overall league. They've set up another one of them, but for the second half of the season. That's the most innovation they've done in years. I mean, that is probably true, but unprecedented innovation. Come on, like you've set up a new league. Well done. And look, I'm not someone that likes to hate on FPL. I like them, right? They've helped me have a job. You know, we all love the game. We also hate the game in a similar amount to how much we love it. But do you know what I mean? I don't, you know, when there's bad decisions and stuff like that, I only jokingly reply, even though everyone takes them very seriously. But yeah. What makes you confident to go a double Arsenal attack when they don't have Jesus? They've just been really good, and I'm not expecting them to completely fall off a cliff just because Jesus isn't there. We need manual substitutions like the World Cup. I disagree. I think it's fun for a short format game that you can just put down and you don't take too seriously. Having to do that every week with FPL would get too much, in my opinion. So I would not like that. But I do like it for World Cup. Stian, what do you think about a 3 premium solution with De Bruyne, Salah and Haaland, and Nketiah for Nunez, White for James Robertson, but Rashford upgraded to De Bruyne? Yeah, I said this on the Game Week preview the other day. I think 3 premiums is perfectly viable. And if people want to go for that, do it. Do it. Again, I know it's just like I'm sitting there and saying that everything sounds okay, but like it really does. I would say if I didn't like it, because last year when people were going for Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Salah, I was dead against it. I never once considered it. I said it wasn't a good option. You're not getting any value because of captaincy. There's so much value elsewhere, and some of that is still true. Right? You're not going to captain all 3 of those players. Like, you're never going to captain De Bruyne over Haaland if they're both fit. And there is still value elsewhere, but I don't think it's quite at the levels as it was last season. So, you Yeah, I did hate it last year, but this year I think it's viable. It's like I said on that game week preview. Make your squad the best you can with 3 premiums, and then just downgrade one of those premiums to someone around the 8 million mark instead. So if you've got Harry Kane, downgrade him to Wilson, or if you've got De Bruyne as your 3rd premium, downgrade him to like a Saka or a Mount or Kulusevski, Foden, whoever it is. Then use that money to upgrade everywhere else and see which team you prefer. Like how many sacrifices are you actually having to make, I guess is the question. Have your views for your videos this week been less than usual? Yeah, everyone's probably down a bit. It's just people trying to get back into it after the World Cup. There probably will just be a drop-off now because of the World Cup in general. Is Formium? Nah, I don't think I would go to Formium. Surely you are sacrificing too much there. And obviously everyone will disagree on what a sacrifice is, but like for example, if I don't know, let me just build a team, probably be easier. So who did you go for? De Bruyne, Salah, and Haaland. See, I don't know about. I think I'd rather have Kane, Haaland, and Salah just because of the setup. But we'll go with it. Let's say we've got De Bruyne. He doesn't play for Man United. He plays for Man City. So straight away, right, I've got to make up 3.8 million. So I think the easiest way, surely anyone with freemium is not having Cancelo in. So I've only got 3.4 million to spend. Let's just put Walker in and we'll work out the rest in a minute. So one of the obvious ones is going to be Gabriel to White. So that leaves me 0.9 million to find. So it's probably... See, straight away, I'm finding it really hard to fit this in. Like, another 0.9 million has got to come off. I mean, you might have better team value than me. You might have better team value, right? Yeah, it probably is. If you have Cancelo, you probably either got Trippier cheaper or you don't have Reece James. I really want Reece. How about a 5-yum? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, you could go for Mitrovic, but obviously he's a doubt, so that's not ideal. Then you got to find 0.3 million from somewhere. I guess it's Almiron. How can we forget about Almiron? Yeah, okay, you could go Nketiah, yeah. Instead of... in fact, I can even afford Wilson once I... So that's the team with 3 premiums. And like I said, that doesn't look that bad. It genuinely does not look that bad. Right? You don't necessarily have to have Walker. You can have a different 4.8 million defender and rotate them around a little bit. But it doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't. I think you could get away with it. The thing to remember is you only need this team until the next wild card, which is probably like 8 to 10 weeks away probably, and then you're wild carding again anyway. And there's no reason why this team can't beat the team that I've got. Like over a small period, like 6 to 8 weeks, anything can happen, right? De Bruyne and Salah could go absolutely nuts. I've only got one. I'm missing points from the other one. There's nothing wrong with it at all. You could also take the 3rd striker and upgrade Andreas. Yeah, you could do. You could do. So I would start at this, and then I would just downgrade a player. Obviously, for me, I'm just going to go back through all the upgrade. I'm going to upgrade all the players I just downgraded. But it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. The thing is, I think Saka's pretty good. And then straight away, I'm like, okay, I put Saka. I got 4.6 million to spend. It's quite a lot of money. Like, even if I went slightly different to my last draft, I put instead of Wilson and De Bruyne, I put in Saka and Darwin, and I've still got 3 million to spend. So I put Cancelo back in 0.6. That's my White back to Gabriel. I just think that's enough upgrades to warrant not going for De Bruyne. But it depends what you think. You might not think that Nunez is that much better than Wilson, and that's fair enough. Still got Almiron though. I think I'd rather have Rashford in that spot. Oh, I wouldn't bet on Tony. I see what you did there. Opinions on Trent and Robertson. Look, the fact that nobody wants them right now kind of tempts me because they're big differentials. But, I mean, Trent's not Trent is a doubt, is worth saying. It's not till Monday, so we'll have to wait and see. But he's a slight doubt because of illness. But they just haven't defended that well. They haven't defended that well this season. I just don't think I'd want to... Like, I'm trying to figure out how to keep Trippier while having Gabriel. If I then had to find a spot for Trent while keeping Cancelo, that's just too much money, I think. And like Robertson and Trent are good enough players that they can absolutely score enough points to match or even beat their price. But I just don't know how much I want to bet on that right now, to be honest with you. Given how much Trent has killed me this season. Is Ziyech now a good option after a good World Cup? I would say probably not. Some players just play better for their countries, right? Like, chances are Ziyech is not going to be back in time for Gameweek 17. He might be. And even if he is, he probably won't play. Gavin, Edison and goal, I like it. Trent, Rashford, Darwin. Oh, okay, hang on. Edison, Trent, Rashford, Darwin, or Leno. Is that Dallo, I guess? De Bruyne and Mitrovic. No switching any of them due to cost, but I'll use the rest of the same 11. I think because you got a Fulham goalkeeper, Dallo is not guaranteed to play, and Mitrovic is a doubt. I think you've got to go for Edison, Trent, Rashford, and Darwin. I wouldn't necessarily spend the money on Trent, but you could use that to upgrade elsewhere. But yeah, I think it looks good. Luke Shaw, not a bad option if you want a Man United defender. They are going to be missing Varane and Martinez, though, probably, for Game Week 17. Do you have any goals for the rest of this FPL season? I'd love to get to top 10k, but I just think it's too difficult. Warden Everson's okay, yeah. But I'm going to pay the extra for Kappa, I think. Right, we've been going for about an hour, so I'm going to leave it there. I will have one more video before the deadline, so I'm going to do final thoughts tomorrow. I'm going to go and check out all the press conference information we got. I'm going to ask you guys for some more questions, so keep an eye out on Twitter. I don't know if I'm going to put a video out on Christmas Day, because I don't have one already done, and it's already getting quite late today. I don't want to work too much tomorrow. And I usually do like a Christmas Q&A, but I feel like I've gone over the questions that come in quite a few times now. And it's not that popular because it goes out Christmas Day and it's not FPL related, so I don't know if I'm going to do a video on Christmas Day. So my plan is I'm going to do a members stream later on for the YouTube members. That'll be at 5 o'clock. I'll do final thoughts tomorrow. It'll probably be out quite early in the morning, like 10 or 11, maybe 12. That's not morning. And then that will be it until the deadline stream on Boxing Day. So yeah, well, I wouldn't make the video on Christmas Day. I would make it before, but I just don't know. I don't know if I want. I'm not feeling great either. Like you can probably hear in my voice, it's gone a little bit. My throat's sore, so I might just rest it a bit and be ready for Boxing Day. Anyway, if I don't speak to you again before Boxing Day and you're celebrating Christmas, have a good Christmas. Make sure to give the stream a like if you enjoyed it. We're back. First stream for like 6 weeks. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch some of the members in the YouTube members stream later on. Was it just a one-off, or will we get more Friday afternoon night live streams in the future? Probably not that many, to be honest. Focal, hello. Have a good one yourself. Good to see you. Yeah, probably not, because the deadline's usually going to be on a Saturday. So right now I'd be doing final thoughts, but because it's not till Monday, I can do final thoughts tomorrow. So that's kind of my thinking. So I don't want to cough too much on stream. I'm putting it on now. I'm like when someone rings in for work. I'm really ill. Like, I've just told you I'm ill, so now I'm coughing to make sure I'm not putting it on. But that was a genuine cough. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Good luck with your drafts. I'll talk a bit more about my draft in the video tomorrow. I don't know. I hate it because you feel like you're almost locked in, and then a couple of days, the closer you get to the deadline, you start questioning your decisions. And there's a few players I need to make decisions on, then the rest will just fall into place. So I'll have a think tonight, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. So yes, thank you for watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe, enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you again very soon.